Hello, everyone. Hi. So I'm Gregory. So like Pedro said, I'm here since 2018. So I'm a front-end software engineer slash designer, and let's go talk about design systems. Anyone knows what it's a design system? Nope. Okay, let's go. A design system is a complete set of standards intended to manage design at scale using reusable components and patterns. What it means, if we define our patterns, our style rules, our style guide, and we implement in small pieces, should be components in design and in the development. If for some reason in a certain point of the time we need to upgrade something, we only change in one place and we scale to the other place because they are importing our design system. One of the benefits of this, it's having, like, for example, a single source of truth. Um, Other, we will see more scenarios in the next slide. But so why we need to use a design system? So design and development work can be created and replicated quickly and at scale. So let's think about, for example, a date picker. Sometimes we have a huge application and we have a small piece of our code they have, or a component they have done before a date picker. We are a new joiner on that code, on that project, and we receive like we need to create a form, we need that date picker, not time picker, that date picker, and we don't know where it is because our library is too big. We don't have documentation what we have done before or not. We are a new joiner. So this design system can help this focus in. You have a documentation, you found what component you want, you build another more complex component with what you have, and to replicate this quickly and at scale, it's more like you don't need to do this again. It's done. So we can move on and work in the logic and wherever. It alleviates strain on design resources to focus on larger and more complex problems. Like I said, we have our UI done. We can focus on our tests, our logic, and stuff like that, so that it's helpful sometimes. So I don't know, is anyone here is a front end? You, I know. You like CSS? Yeah, cool. Uh, okay, some front ends don't like too much the UI, so they prefer JavaScript and stuff like that. So it's good. Okay. And sometimes they want the fun part for the what they call the fun part. It's JavaScript. So sometimes they don't like too much the UI. So the UI it's provided.
Usually who doesn't like CSS is who doesn't really understand, because sometimes you just put something there, click there, and you cannot put there in the right corner, and you stay there struggling
Yeah,
to see it.
it's a love and hate we need to manage. So other things, the design create the one what the benefits to having a design system is it creates a unified language within and between cross-functional teams. So in the next slides, we will see more than that. But for example, we can put designers and developers talking the same language. For example, define by tokens, you define like space 1, space 2, space 3. That will be 4 pixels, 8 pixels. It's an associated measure. For examples, let's try a tricky one. Elevations, the box shadow, or the elevation, it's the shadow, for example, in the button. Sometimes you have three type of elevations: low, mid, and high. For a certain part of the design, you want to have more, it's more relevant, you increase. So, and for example, in a part of the time, we need to update our elevation mid to, I don't know, we need to more blur on the shadow. So with that, they show you the what it's the new shadow. You only update in one place, and when he said, okay, this component will use elevation mid, you know what it's the box shadow. It's defined. It's not for him. You don't need to say, oh, okay, it's the high. It's 4 pixels. The X is 4 pixels. It's under 4 pixel, and the blur it's like 20 pixels. I don't know. So we don't need to share this type of information. You only need to say to you it's like it's elevation mid. So it's what a design system creates a unified language that way everyone is on the same page and everyone talks the same thing. It creates a visual consistency across products. So I put single source of truth. It's right. Sometimes when we have a huge problem that can happen on design teams and front-end teams, sometimes we can have issues with consistency. So some, like you said, says yes, sometimes can be we have a tricky problem. So sometimes we can see some smaller things, or the pixel, it's not pixel perfect. And yeah, that way we have a single source of truth. The button primary is this one and is always this one. And we don't have replicated primary buttons or duplicated inputs or time pickers and wherever. And it can serve as educational tool and reference for junior level designers and developers. So with the design system on the design part, and in the development team, we will have documentation how to use it, what components we have until now. So if I'm a new joiner and I get, for example, I need to do something, and I know we have a design system, so documented on Storybook, for example, I will try to find that component and I will use it, because if the documented it's done on the right way, that will simplify my work. So can help me understanding more the app, trying to do my job, because I have a reference instead digging in the code for something I don't know where it is or wherever. So until now, everyone, it's fine, but more or less with its a design system or no? Any question? Okay, we will talk about some cool libraries and plugins can help us to build a design system, and can be more clarified how to use it. This is the only plugin I have. It's Figma Tokens, so this is for the design part. So with the installation of this plugin, we can generate tokens to talk the same language as the devs. So we have two, two, two things here. For example, the sizing. She says SCM, this is t-shirt sizing. So if we want to talk, okay, this component, the spacing should be, I don't know, a medium. So we will know it's a 16. So the designer don't need to say to me what it's the perfect measure, because in some part of the time, if I need to change this 16 for 18, I only change in one place and will replicate in now all interface. So this is for the design part. They will have tokens defined, so like rules. So 4 pixels and whatever. So that way they don't like hard code or design with 3 pixels. So it's defined for 4 pixels. And in the dev part, we will have an object, JSON or whatever, with all the reference we need for that. It's the so associated to the design. So this plugin can generate a JSON with all our tokens, and when we can import that on our code and make that work more easy. So style components. This is a personal preference. I like to work with style components. It's CSS in JavaScript library. So for me, one of the important features on style components is the theme provider. So with that, we can pass our theme, like I said before, the elevations with the 3 levels, mid and low, high. And when we do our, for example, in this case, it's not replicated here, but we want, for example, the theme main, we can pass the color. So the color should be this one. So we have access to the theme, and we do our style component with this theme provider. This can help because if you want to change something, we only need to change in one side. You don't need to run all across your app to do that. So other important library, it's Radix UI. So basically, this is a pre-made React component, but with accessibility. Unstyled components, so they don't have any style. You need to work with style components, or let me double check something, or stitches. It's the same. This is the same as style components, but it's the same company as Radix. And what they did, it's like they give us like components done for design system, but with all the accessibility stuff done, patterns, following patterns and whatever. So we don't need to care about that because it's done. It's like we don't need to do again something we can get. It's that the main source of their work. And we can pick that component. Like I said, it's on style. We pass to our style component or stitches, and we can style according our design specification. Other awesome library, it's style system. So let's try to think something like we have a button, and sometimes we have a button and we need to set like a margin left, but we don't need to define on our code like a prop to saying if it's margin left, please add this value. We can use style system that will extend our component at this way. So we import. Wait. Okay. We can import our style system. Wait. I guess I'm wrong. I get the wrong image, the wrong code here. So what? Forget this part. It's what happens when we need to sleep sometimes a little and we do slides. So this is our important example. So style system will get our theme by tokens. For example, what I said before, the style, the space, it's related to some measure. So this will extend our component. The style system will expand our component, and we will pass new props, but it's not defined by us. It's defined by the style scheme. For example, empty means margin top. So I can say, this box, I want to a margin top of 16 pixels, but I don't need to code that. I use style system to do that job for me. They will say, so the space tree it's related to 16, so they will add a margin top of 16 pixels. And finally, but not least, I like Storybook for do this job. So for the documentation part, so Storybook will have our components here. So we will have a canvas with our components, some props defined, so we can interact with that props and see what the component does. So it for us sometimes it's important. For example, if we pick, so I don't know, an input. So this input have an invalid state. If we have the prop here defined, we can click. Oh, okay, it's that mess. It's this state I want. So I need only to pass this message to this prop, and will work. And my jump on the UI part, it's done. And other, it's not mentioned on this GIF, but other important stuff, it's the docs. So we create MTX files with documentation about our code. So what it's the where you can import, what props we can pass to him, and small spinets of that code using this component we are searching. Yeah, it's done. Okay. Questions? Any questions?
What's your opinion about tailwind instead of using all the style like this? Using
Sorry?
the tailwind.
The
Tailwind.
tailwind.
Yeah.
We can use that. You can use. In my personal preference, I don't like because, for example, in my code, I don't like in the HTML part to see a bunch of classes doing this, doing the style I want. But it's a personal preference. You can use it's you can make a design system using Tailwind because all the rules are defined. But for me, I guess it's more tricky to remember all the classes you need to add to the component to do that job.
You won't need the classes to bring HTML though. I don't know how you'll do it in React, but at least in, let's say, Vue, you have HTML, JavaScript, and style component, style dates, let's call it, and you can apply all the statements of Tailwind in CSS. So you only say like, okay, everything with this class, I want to apply this bunch of Tailwind classes. So the HTML code becomes a lot cleaner. But
Yeah, can be a solution, but you have some. It's a in my case, it's a personal preference, but you can have done and you can define to maintain your HTML more clear. For me, to remember all the classes will be hard because I'm the guy who can hit like at 1 hour and I don't remember what I hit. So I hit it, yeah. So I don't remember what food I pick. So
And could they pick everything instead of CSS more organized as well?
yeah, I like style components because your style you can use the style component feature more. I guess since teachers we have that the team and you can use it, but basically you have a component, you have the main file, the tests, and the styles. It's related only to that component. For me, it's more a question of organizing, and I prefer like that. But something more? Okay.
Okay, so if I wanted to start a project tomorrow and I went to you and said like, hey, I want to use a design system, but I want something that you'd recommend, what would you recommend?
um,
And
to
why? And why?
to
Important.
doing that as up.
Yeah. Something I want to do something quick, but I want to be able to build things fast.
Yeah, you can. I guess you can use three main stuff. Radix, because you have the all the components done, pre-made done. It's like unstyled, but they are done.
Are they configurable?
Yeah, you can pass. They are configurable. You have a really good documentation, um, and it's more easy because, for example, if your application needs to have need to have accessibility and stuff like that, it's done. It's not reinventing the wheel. It's done. So it's the main library. I will say React too, because for Radix you will need React because it's done in React. Style components, if you want to use that library to style. And what are important, it's like have a library to documentation the stuff. For example, you can, I prefer Storybook, but we have now another one. I need to investigate more, but someone in Mindera, Jose, talk me about one library, but I don't remember the name. I'm trying, but at the moment it's difficult. So, but do the same job as Storybook. So, pre-made components, styled, and some place to document it, to have a really good documentation. Because if you do a design system, but you don't have good documentation, yeah, you will know what it's done or not, or where you can pick. But if you have a new joiner, will be tricky. So yeah, something more.
And what about if you want to build your own components?
You can do forget Radix, and you build your own component. It's more like at my on my project, I don't use Radix, for example, because we have React Native first. It's basically we create the components in React Native, and we have a library, React Native Web, and that library converts our React Native components in web components. That way, we can have one design system to give to for web and native. So in that case, Radix don't work, so we will do all the component from zero. So it's what up to you, or what it's best for you to choose. So it's not. I'm not saying like you need to use Radix to have a good design system. It's not that the question. If it's for some, if you need to do ASAP and you have only a small time to do that, and it's only for web, and if you don't mind, can pick. It's like for the older times, use Bootstrap to prototype stuff because it's fast. We can do the job really fast and have something. But at the final of the point, or at the final, I prefer always to do from myself. But you need to measure the time. Some other.
It's a key decision.
Yeah, it's a key decision to do like the PO.
Yes.
Anything else?
Have you tried the MUI?
Sorry,
MUI.
the material one.
Yes, they changed them.
Yeah, me and Panta, we work on project with that. It's tricky because one of the things I don't like, it's like they give you a style. If the job it's wrong, or you pick the library and you don't do the theme at the beginning, on the beginning of the project, in some part of the time can be a mess, because we pick from material some component, and you will give style, so you will overwrite styles. So it's tricky. If it's done at the beginning, yeah, sure, you define all the theme and whatever, and will work good. But if it's not done that way, it's tricky, because you will always overwrite styles, and personally, it's not a good decision. But sometimes we need to do that.
It's like buying a car and changing all the things inside.
Yeah.
Or in the-
This is your car, and you start changing. It's not what you are. It's tricky. It's like it's the key decision. Whatever. Sometimes. Something else? It's it. So. So, thank you. Any questions, you can send me an email. So, no problem. I will reply. So, or I'll be around if you want to discuss something. Feel free. Okay, cool. Thanks.